This is real reason why the Queen will never abdicate, royal expert reveals. The Queen took a religious vow to serve the country for a life on her 21st birthday, repudiating the mere idea of abdication after she lived through the disruption Edward VIII's choice had on the royal family, a royal author has revealed. Queen Elizabeth II pledged to dedicate her life to the crown even before her coronation and still holds true to her vow, according to Ted Powell, author of King Edward VIII, An American Life. In a radio speech marking her 21st birthday, young Elizabeth said, "I declare before you all that my whole life, whether it be long or short, shall be devoted to your service and the service of our great imperial family to which we all belong." This statement, broadcast while she was in South Africa with her parents and sister in April 1947, resonated with her subjects and family, which 11 years earlier had been shaken to its foundation by the abdication of Edward VIII. The brief declaration signaled the desire of the future queen to take a distance from her uncle's actions and never put the country through the same chaos again, according to Mr. Powell. Edward had given up the throne in 1936 to marry the woman he loved, American divorcee Wallis Simpson. This choice put the country and Buckingham Palace through a constitutional crisis, and changed forever the dynasty of the royal family, giving the crown to George V. Mr. Powell told Express Co. UK, in many respects the history of the British monarchy in the second half of the 20th century was an extended commentary on the events of 1936. In April 1947, on her 21st birthday, future Queen Elizabeth II gave a radio broadcast from South Africa, where she was touring with the rest of the royal family. It was an explicitly anti-abdication speech, a repudiation of the idea that the burden of monarchy could be laid aside. The Queen's declaration was almost like a religious vow, a lifelong dedication to the service of her country. Edward VIII's life choice, which forced him into an exile in France lasting through his whole life, led the royal family to go back to tradition, despite the former Prince of Wales had planned to transform the monarchy into a more modern entity. Mr. Powell said, he consciously sought to carry on the informal, democratic approach to his royal duties which he had developed as Prince of Wales. The abdication led the royal family to the opposite conclusion. King George VI, as his name suggests, ruled in conscious imitation of his father George V, and through him followed the royal traditions laid down a century before by Queen Victoria and Prince Albert. He embodied British national identity and tradition, living a model family life within the pattern of Christian marriage, and avoiding political controversy. The Queen followed through with her father's ruling style, Mr. Powell continued. He added, in 1953, in a further echo of the abdication controversy, she refused her consent to the marriage of her sister Princess Margaret to Peter Townsend, who had divorced his first wife. Despite being 92, the Queen is unlikely to break the promise made to the country, even though an abdication at her age would be much less disruptive than Edward's has been, the author argued. He said, more than 70 years on, at the age of 92, the Queen still holds true to the vow she made on her 21st birthday. Prince Philip retired from royal duties last year at the age of 96, and there are suggestions may retire when she reaches 95. However, my belief is that even if she ceases to carry out public engagements, she will carry on discharging the constitutional duties of the sovereign, such as assenting to acts of parliament for as long as she is physically and mentally able.